Esports, and moving forward, just none of these immobile control mages.
That's right. This time around, I don't care if he doesn't ult Nightstar. I don't care if he doesn't press the R button, because at least he'll be able to auto-attack during fights and feel like more use. Frank Esports last game, it was not a great game 3. It was so all over the place. And we had many kills, but it just felt like solo queue in the end. Everyone stepping out of place. So many mistakes and errors. Really hard to absorb in the end, as Frank Esports starts off with a cheeky little invade off the side, hoping Apex steps up for the Electro Harpoon. Pretender's pulling him a little bit. And we're just going to see Kerry's has flash. I would do it. Nope. But of course, he's not me. He's going to play it safe. And backs away.
In the meantime, they were able to get that ward onto the red buff. And they don't have any sweepers on the side of Frank Esports. So this will be knowledge gained for the side of Impunity as they look to try and pull off the reverse sweep. Is it going to be difficult? I mean, yes. That's usually how reverse sweeps are. But it starts with one game, and you know what comes after one game, Hysterics?
Another one.
Another one.
That's right. Game 5. Look, if we get a game 5 out of Impunity, this composition feels like it'd be partly to thank for that, as the Rumble last time around got so far ahead, there was nothing Frank Esports can do. But I can even say the same about this top lane, as Jackpot takes a heavy trade. That's Gwen. I mean, he walked into the true damage, to be fair. It's not like, Jackpot did something right. He's done it again. It's a level 1. And all you have to do is keep sniffing away. With Ignite and a Q, Jackpot flashes away. YSKM is going to get level 2 as well. He can press E in about a minion's time. If Jackpot stays stepped up here, YSKM will kill him.
Instead, he actually goes ahead, backs off. Maybe just waiting for the junglers to come up here to ensure a more comfortable trade.
Bottom lane, meanwhile, we get a good trade, speaking of. Dredgeline to hit it on back, as Eminem is still level 1, so it's just the range of Calibrum as they'll hit 2 off that minion wave. You can see Alex now moving on in as onto Jackpot. The all-in begins again. Ignite down as junglers are going to face off as well, but remember that Frank Esports have a top laner here. Impunity not so much, as he's one snip away from getting in kill threat again. YSKM steps on up. Jackpot is threatened back. And even though Alex is coming in, a ward's going to spot him out, so YSKM will have priority in this lane still.
Alex is just pulled back and forth at this rate, as Jackpot, he just keeps taking these trades.
He's Renekton. Dominus is, not Dominus, but rather Q is, walking into the true damage again. It's time to back off. But YSKM is probably not going to let him do it. He's also on a ward. YSKM sees him on the ward. He's tanking up the minion wave. He's got W available. E forward to...
doesn't have vision anymore.
Missed, ran in. Oh my god, no. Vision goes
50-50.
out. And that just sucks.
You know what? I respect that. That was, we call him Baby the Shy.
That's true.
That is something the Shy definitely would go for. No questions asked. Unfortunately, he takes the big L there. That stings. But at the same time, when you look at how these trades are working out for him, maybe it doesn't bite him too hard. Only time will tell.
It is a pickaxe versus an amplifying tome, so I think that will definitely not be the case, because, the thing about Renekton as well, even when he gets that low, when you build up Fury, when you get that passive and you get 50%, the ability to get back into some of the burst trades is huge. YSKM, as you said, still doing well, but you just look at this. Waiting for W is all he needs. Q's in. YSKM's hurt. Jackpot's back up. So Renekton, when he starts snowballing a lane, especially with a Sejuani jungler, is so painful to verse.
Alex hanging around. Just hoping YSKM advances a little bit too far forward. And able to punish as Apex also hovering that area. And I think because of Apex hovering, YSKM is playing a lot more tempered.
Yeah, look, he's also got, you know, that Rain of Anger's back up to 50% as we look towards bottom lane. 2v2 going well. Dredgeline onto the Rakan here, but Houston's able to back off. And it continues to be Eminem favored here. Small CS gap with the wave pushing out. But Carries has been on point all series, and to be fair, you know, I think has been one of the strongest players of Frank so far. So continues to find great angles as Jackpot, speak of the devil, going to do the same. But unfortunately, unable to get an enhanced W.
Hollow is here.
Oh, he was spotted.
Oh,
He was spotted out.
tragic.
Yeah, rough timing. Frank
Level
Esports
6
top
though.
laner. Jackpot can 1v2. It doesn't matter. Wisecamp doesn't have need to work, and Alex and Apex are here.
Yep, this is also Equalizer up and available.
Well, I think we got an Impunity early game yet again kicking off. Pretender, level 6 now, but once again, Apex is moving out of lane so much quicker. He hasn't even been punished that much in the lane.
And in fact, this is Teleport coming in.
Here he comes. Impunity is still going all in. Pretender has ulti. He's going to clear out the wave for now, but Nightstar, there's no play apart from a defensive one from Frank Esports to get their top laner back where they think he belongs.
At the very least, they don't lose the EXP that's sitting up at that wave, right? Where YSCam, he wasn't able to get in range to even get the EXP for those. So Pretender, he claims it up. So it does mean Pretender's going to be fairly accelerated on the EXP department. That's really all they get out of that exchange, though, as it's still a long cooldown expended to make that play.
And remember that TP, you know, we don't care because you're still not going to expect to have it up for any play, considering I just get unleashed to 14 minutes. But Pretender not having that available, Apex, he didn't take TP anyway. It's going to be Ignite for the lane. Means that this Azir, if he gets punished again, will have his work cut out for him. I want to point out top lane lead is about 15 right now for Jackpot. As Pretender finally showing us what this Azir can do. He's got lost chapters, so the difference is nice. And yeah, for Dragon, it seems like there is priority in the lanes, even for Herald Nightstar. 30 seconds till that spawns.
And for YSCam, onto the Gwen pick. It's definitely a different situation where he can't just easily win out this lane phase. You saw him take these really nice level 1 trades, but because of that death, set very far behind where he wants to be. And Jackpot is in a very comfortable spot. He can play aggressive. He can play without jungle assistance.
Nice try. It was a good attempt at Dredgeline there. Annex does have ulti. Flash away from Carries. Now walking back in to re-engage for the auto attack. Eminem has his own too. And all it takes is an engage. But Hollow, second time around, he's been spotted out in the play, this time by a ward. And there'll be nothing to say of the bottom lane 2v2 any further.
And the job from Impunity on keeping track of where Hollow is has improved greatly. As 8.5 minutes into the game, Hollow hasn't gotten involved onto the map yet or gotten himself a kill. This is a slow early game, and that's exactly where Impunity want to have it, at least with how strong their lanes are right now.
74 CS, the mid lane keeping track. Again, Apex doing well in the lane. It's just such good news for Impunity, who are leading by gold and now have the Herald localized gold going to Sedges. Dredgeline yet again connecting. Death Charge onto Annex. Ignite down 2, and there's an ulti at melee range from Eminem. They'll be able to force out the bottom lane at the very least with the Ghost Burn by Annex. So that's previous though, as YSCam at the top side. We get the Ignite down. Needlework coming through, but Dominus in response. Good trade as a flash away from Jackpot. Means he doesn't get hit by the last bit, and Gwen always has a way.
Oh, it does look like he's trying to hang around, maybe punish YSCam just walking into him once more, which we did see work out last time. And this time,
though, thankfully.
Alex does also have the Rift Herald. This time around, Hollow trying to hover up topside to help protect YSCam. They don't want him to fall too far behind this time, because even though YSCam still found good fights on the Camille, with how far he was set behind because of that early tower going down, all 5 plates going into Jackpot, the statement made by Jackpot, I feel like, was much greater than what the Camille was able to bring to the table.
True. I mean, every time so far in the series we've seen this for Renekton. Each time, it's either been the blind from YSKM with that Camille that has been punished well, or this time around, YSKM chose to take the Gwen in the matchup, and obviously a lot better. Second draft feels like it is a much better response, but it's that mistake that bites him so hard. As speaking of, Alex now over the wall, a good setup for the 2v2, but Pretender is not walking towards the wave. There's pings over that wall. Frank Esports, no.
And Hollow's coming over to try and respond to it as well. And it will force Alex to back on out of there. Another thing is, for Gwen, this is 12-14 Gwen. So she still has the extra little bit of true damage in the middle of her snip,
Sure.
contrary than what is currently available. Or on 12-15, which is where we see, LCK and LPL play. So Gwen still able to do a ton, stupid amounts of damage with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, the biggest change that we saw come in is the fact that all these Gwens now build for ulti. The fact that you can just press R and destroy half a fight
Just
late game.
one tap carries.
I mean, Gwen versus Zeri. Take your pick here in this game. And, we did talk about Frank Esports. At the very least, Impunity are on a bit of a timer this time around. Even with the Zeri, you look at the range, you look at the scaling.
Yep.
This time, Frank Esports, if it does go to a late game fiesta, they've got a little bit more on their side in terms of tools to play with. But Impunity are trying not to let this one get there. It is a Gwen underneath turret. You're going to have to play it well. At least the CC is chained nicely. Impunity, very clean stuff as they get the dive kill.
Yep. Find the kill. Now they throw in the Rift Herald. Should be able to break this top tower. And history sort of repeats itself. It's not quite 10 minutes, which is when that tower went down the first time around, but delayed 2 minutes is not that big of a deal for Impunity, who still are playing around this top jungle a lot better now that they have the Renekton, and it makes me wonder why it took this long to just lock in the Renekton pick.
Well, I mean, we talked about it at the start of the day. Pause on that. Dreadflight comes out onto Annex. Quickness is a good response. We're in AoE territory. Eminem has Gale Force and uses it well, but has to flash out with a cleanse. And now here's the burner. Frank Esports are bringing in the cavalry, but Impunity is still chasing up. In goes Pretender. An easy ulti backwards. And Pretender, thank you for pressing R in your first play of the game. That's refreshing.
And this is why we wanted to see the Zero over the Orianna, because you can do things like that. If that is Orianna, you still are reliant on the Nautilus to flash forward to carry the ball into or on top of them. It gives them that opportunity to flash out of it, but not when you're in a Zero. In that moment, as we get to see the replay on this bottom play, hook lands, and unfortunately Eminem unable to lay out enough damage because how well Yusin is able to play out this fight, peeling for his carry. But the turnaround happens when the teleport comes in, and they just keep chasing, knowing that, hey, it's Zeri, extra movement speed, they're super low, we should be able to finish that off, and they just don't expect it.
They really don't. And look, now with 2 kills, Crown actually picked up in this game, so going the safer measure rather than Luden's. Not a full front line, so okay, respectable at the very least. You've got your mythic item, and Gale Force in the bottom side was already picked up in the play. That's what you saw used. We are getting towards first item territory as Impunity. While we're in the replay, we're able to pick up their first dragon, rather second dragon of the game. They still sit 1k gold ahead, but we did talk about it. This comp needs to snowball the hell out of the game. Otherwise, Frank Esports, that late game is so easy to maintain.
Yeah, and I actually really like this crown purchase coming in from Pretender because of the fact that the only long-range spells they have that's not an ultimate is just going to be the zap coming in from Annex. So that's the only thing that's going to be able to reach Pretender reliably. And that is a pretty clear big cooldown as YSKM.
They flashed for that as well. There's the
Equalizer
layered on down. Needlework in a straight line. They used everything to kill Cam and Hollow.
Oh,
Still sitting there might be okay. Pretender just got his first item, but it is still an Azir. Ulti connects, but it's too early, Frank Esports. You're doing what Impunity did in game 2.
Yeah, not quite the damage online here from the side of Frank Esports. Fight a little bit too soon. YSCam now gets himself that Rift Maker. You just imagine if that was a situation, he has the Mythic completed. He's just healing way more HP in that situation off his ultimates. But it's not to be. They contest a little bit foolhardily. They get punished. Impunity out to a 2.5K gold lead. This is yet another early game that Impunity actively draft for, and Frank Esports, they kind of play into it. So, nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, look, for Frank, again, this is just the last 2 games have just been mind-boggling when I feel like this team had such a good handle on their macro, how they respond, and how their comp flourishes. Past 2 games have been all over the place, and even after the successful TP play bot, now you give Apex a window back on in. 2-0 on this Rumble. Night Harvester picked up, the Dark Seal stacking yet again. We got 1 item for the people that count on Impunity. I feel like the game's only beginning to throw its counterpunch here. Is that Herald now in hand for Alex? And there are 2 standing turrets on the outer sides of the map.
And the 1 item spike is really, really nice for the side of Impunity. They spike super hard with top, jungle, mid, just being super powerful at this point. And for Frank Esports, they really start coming back into it on 2 and 3 items. So trying to buy time.
Okay, Pretender's now in.
Oh, good
hook. Line set up, but the equalizer. Oh, that's huge. Annex with his ulti now freestanding as well. Apex on a good hit. That ulti not hitting from Eminem, but a dredge line shuts him down. All the gold is going to Pretender, who's just sitting back and chilling while Impunity stepped too far up.
And you can see the power of the crown in that instance because he was sitting on the equalizer pretty much the entire time, and he was just non-stop autoing because with the extra resistances coming in, he doesn't actually get bursted out, and that is a big punch fact coming in from Frank Esports as they look to stand tall in this mid-game, stabilize, and wait for their next items to come through, where slowly their carries will start to rise back up, especially with the mid and top differences.
We've got Nashes on the way, right? Those items that mean so much. And the fact that it's only a 1K gold lead yet again for Impunity. They saw the play, and they went too far. It's kind of feeling like game number 3. Okay, everyone throws the Hail Mary, and the other team just gets a bit of a freebie. Back and forth like a game of ping pong. And 45 seconds towards the Dragon. If we have a Nash's Azir at that point in the game, I mean, I would be very scared if Pretender's able to free hit like he was able to just send at the mid turret.
Yeah, and this is a very different game for Apex, right? He is back onto the Rumble, but then you look at some of the champions that he has to deal with, the Philios. If he has Severum up, he can lifesteal through the Equalizer against Pretender. He has the crown, so he can stand in it. And YSCam, like, Gwen is immune. So he's just not taking damage at all in the Equalizer unless Apex is in range. So there's a lot of problems arising with this Rumble pick, which shone so brightly in game number 3 as we turn into game number 4.
At least his angle is good at the moment here with Alex having his ulti available. In River, Frank Esports are still susceptible to get bunched up on.
They need to burn crown.
Onto the Dragon. Yeah, the crown needs to come through. It's a good ulti on top of him. They land Eminem getting out with the Gale Force though. And Pretender, you said, buys his time. Annex ain't that 3-item Zera yet, so in this fight he's not doing a thing. As he runs away, it's Jackpot to focus on, who is able to kill the Azir. Pretender drops down as Frank Esports are threatened here with a 2-for-2 trade. But Jungler is alive here for Hollow. You look at Alex, he's been burnt out quite a bit as Jackpot is working in with a full Sovereign bar. That Reign of Anger is available, and now they have to walk into the Dragon Pit versus it.
Yeah, both teams actually sitting on the same roles for this fight. Because of that, they don't want to take any flips just going to go ahead, recall, reset the situation. That means Pretender's going to get back into it. And coming into that fight, he had the Gnasher's Tooth bought up, and you could already see some of the work he was doing. Unfortunately, he did get caught out, but it's very hard for that situation to repeat, as I believe the Sejuani ultimate much longer cooldown to actually get this kick.
As you said, the crown does so much as stopwatch as well, means that he took no damage.
Yeah. Like, he should be dead from that combination of spells, but because he has crown, he only takes like 25% damage, and that allows them to buy so much extra time, because then he has the stopwatch on top of it. He also pulls Jackpot away. Imagine if he falls at the start of that, Jackpot is just able to mop up the fight and doesn't have to chase Pretender out on a limb. And now, cooldown's reset, ultimate's back up.
They're turning to the fight in the AoE. Kerry sacrificing his life to equalize good again, but Pretender free, hitting his wise cam. Jumps on in. Frank Esports. This is more like it. The front to back played well, but Annex is now moving his own game. Him takes everything, but over the wall wasn't a mistake. No, because now Jackpot can get on in. Well, Eminem still alive, but his flash now down. A double over to Annex. Zeri doing Zeri things way before she should have the liberty to do it.
Annex trying to find his own in this series. 2 games of Zeri, and it's been popping off. Now should have 2 items completed once he queues up that recall. And when we see the replay, we're going to see Pretender still have his ultimate throughout that entirety. Doesn't want to put himself at risk this time around, even with the crown available. I'm wondering, maybe he lost the crown, had it procced early on in the fight. That's why he didn't want to put himself in to that situation. As replay happens, they're all stuck in a choke point. This should be like the perfect situation for Frank Esports, trying to fight through the Gwen ultimate, and also with Pretender possibly just eating up that entire choke point. But you see, he's just so non-committal, and him walking away, or him walking in the opposite direction, leaves the rest of the team super exposed, because now you don't have that shuffle to shove them back away from your backline.
And as we saw that last fight as well, I mean, further to the point, like Frank Esports, you know, they're at the 3rd dragon now. We're at 22 minutes and feeling very confident, but we have to remember that Eminem is still only 2 items. It's an LDR second tier for the Aphelios. We don't have that Infinity Edge. We don't have that AD threat where, for Annex, once everyone was in, he was able to chase up and clean it before he even got the Phantom Dancer. So for Impunity, getting a lot of gold off the back of that trade. 2nd dragon for them too, and being able to complete some of those core items with all the gold that was just taken. Almost a 4K gold lead here at the 23-minute mark, as Frank Esports are losing control over the map, especially this top side right now, around the Baron buff that is sitting there waiting.
And YSCam onto the Gwen pick hasn't quite had the same impact. Looks a little bit off kilter. And at the same time, this is, you know, a best of 5. And getting to game 4, this is a pretty grueling affair, right? Even though the first 2 games were pretty much speed runs, but because it was a 43-minute game in game number 3, all of a sudden the game timer, it's how mentally exhausting it is. You gotta wonder how much that affects a young player like YSKM.
Oh, I mean, you know, it's Nightstar, it's affected me. And I'm not even that young, so you have to imagine. But people are playing the game. I'm you know, I've got to apologize again. Game 3. I don't know.
Was a ride.
Tilted, but it was a ride, and even this one getting towards that point as YSKM trying to take the 1v1, but Gwen with 1.5 items versus a 2-item Renekton. Pretender, you are a hero this game, and he's making up for last game. Very nice counter punch.
Right place, right time. Thunder secures himself another shutdown. He is a very, very rich man, has the completed Zanya, so now he can just be emboldened to go for these perhaps riskier plays, getting into the back line to try and shove back the Zeri, because you do have that stopwatch to buy extra time. the resistances will also help out considerably against Jackpot as well. So now Frank Esports maybe hitting a bit of a sweet spot here. Is of course they're still waiting for that next item to come in for Eminem. Curious whether it is going to be the IE or if it's something like a BT, because if you do go BT, you can just lifesteal through the equalizer and really nullify that big cooldown itself. That could be a possibility. He hasn't really shown which direction he's going in yet, though.
Yeah, because further to your point, it feels like we do have a lot of damage coming through. Pretender is, he's not Loons, he's not Leandri, so, he's not going to provide as much output as we would expect of a 3.5 item Azir. But Eminem still hasn't backed for that item, as you were saying. I want to point out that Pretender, he has a Blighting Jewel. So 3.5 items, as I mentioned just before, is over a 2.5 item Rumble. That is massive, and Pretender with a full item completion ahead of his opposing mid laner. In 55 seconds, I feel like this is here yet again. Going to be the talking point as we get towards that dragon that will be the fourth of the game.
Jackpot does have a ton of magic resistance stacked up. Has the Mortius, has that Chem Tank, and also the Merc Tread. So considerable amount of magic resistance against the double AP threats on the side of Frank Esports means that the next item is quite important for Eminem to actually provide a little bit of threat onto this Renekton.
Yep.
But he still has yet to back.
That's true. I mean, we've seen this series, very late backs coming through. I think Pretender was a big part of that last game. Was it Eminem? Actually, yeah, it was Eminem who stayed out on the map so long. As in front of Dragon, of course, now you can't back. Frank Esports are going to be spotted on the wall. They're going up as that equalizer stops them in their tracks. Down goes Crown, and down goes a huge chunk of HP. With Apex's ulti, that is 1/4 of a cooldown already. You've given over third Dragon, moving up to the Baron, and there's no way you get nearby before it goes down.
Yeah, I actually really like that ultimate used by Apex, knowing that Frank Esports wanted to pull the trigger, rotating over to the Baron buff. They certainly have the damage to burn it down with a 3.5 item Azir. Maybe not as fast as something like Leandri's, perhaps, but certainly can still do a ton of work with Nashers. And so throws out the ultimate. While it might be an important tool for them to team fight, in that instance they weren't looking to team fight. They just wanted the dragon. So burn that cooldown, stop them from going for the Baron, and you get yourself a free fire dragon, and that's going to amp up their damage and help keep this Rumble more relevant.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rumble, but mainly Annex. Zeri at the 3-item point. And we're at a game state where for Impunity, their gold lead with their Renekton Rumble, this early game solo lane comp, hasn't taken off. The shutdown was given over to Pretender down in that bottom lane. We saw that Apex was caught out a couple of times, despite last game playing this Rumble to even more perfection. We rely on Zeri yet again, and dude, if Zeri wins this game, I just don't know how to feel. Like, this has been given over twice now, and it's kind of like in other regions, like, we're seeing Zeri win games. She is the silliest champion on Summoner's Rift right now, and has the ability to carry. Even though Eminem is also 3 items here, Nightstar, it will come down to the fact as Apex actually just called out. Good dredge line. Buying time as well. He has Equalizer and Flash, but will he get to use it? No. It's late, and Pretender gets the kill again. Nice pick off by Frank Esports. While Impunity are down to a 5v4 in front of the Baron buff.
Perfect timing, perfect placement for a pick. Now they are in front of the Baron buff. Eminem trying to kill that ward. The zap comes through, and Hollow takes a huge chunk.
Yeah, he needs to watch out. I mean, early smite or what? I don't know why we still doing the Baron.
Anymore.
Dredge line is there. Ulti misses from Alex, but quickness into the back line, into a Renekton AoE. It turns messy, but Needlework is also a pain as Annex. That flash may have just saved the game. He's stepping up. He can kill Pretender, but Eminem is the Nephelios. He was the original 200 years with a quadra kill, and even though Pretender almost dies, Eminem steps back up for Frank to finally say enough is enough.
Pretender coming back with that teleport means that they will have the HP bars to finish off this Baron buff. And Frank Esports, that might be the statement fight for them to close out this series, as Impunity still looking incredibly tough to put down at that fight. We'll see the replay, and it was a very high-risk play coming in from Frank Esports because they continued the Baron when Hollow was 400 HP.
I mean, Hollow, I guess, Alex, maybe not a bad ult, maybe Hollow just hiding it out well as, dude, in AoE areas, you gotta love a Phalios when he's able to free hit an ult at that range.
It almost turned into a Zeri moment though, Hysterics. We saw right there, he was just doing so much damage, but alas, couldn't run away. Didn't have one of those enchanters on top of him to put him over the top in that situation. Still puts out the most damage, and the big zero, of course, is just the fact that this play happens because Annex, or Apex, was caught out.
I want to say, after the play, Eminem was able to pick up a GA, so definitely a bigger AD carry right now. It's under turret. They're looking for Jackpot, but the Equalizer does actually equalize things here for Impunity. Eminem forced to back away, as that's a big chunk again on top of Hollow. Dragon is up in a minute as well, and this is one that Frank Esports have to contest, Nightstar. And this time they are looking better to do so with the 3K angle. They've also got the pressure from Eminem, and Jackpot can't step up to this Aphelios, so Frank Esports will get yet another turret and have the map well and truly under their wing at the 32-minute mark.
But Hollow still has yet to recall. He's sitting at half HP. This is sort of criminal with how many times Frank Esports are just not recalling to either get HP or to buy items, and now Hollow's going to be stuck.
Can't walk through a choke against the level 16 Gwen with Void Staff. Even with 2.5 items, YSKM is getting to the point where he will change the game by pressing that single button. Good poke from the AD carry, but Hollow gets out of the front of it with his clone absorbing. Frank Esports now don't really have the health bars here, but they need to be around for Dragons. Hollow, I can't believe he didn't reset, but hey, maybe the TP works as carry. He goes in early though.
Annex
Support about to die. Over to Annex's YSKM. His angle's great, but Frank Esports are so split up. Why did they go in before YSKM was there? No reset from Hollow. Pretender has to carry from a back end, and yes, they can. But Annex Apex, as he gets over the wall, oh, I'm honestly just sick of 3 players with the same ending of their name. Annex, Alex, Apex, they're all X's at this point. His Impunity cannot walk in, it seems. But they're going to anyway.
Oh man, I mean, Annex, he's just trying to lifesteal off of Grom. But YSKM and Pretender are so strong. Oh, that's a big zap!
He got hit. That's not good. But at least
Apex
Pretender can sit back and auto it onto Jackpot. Yeah, the Equalizer could do something, but you look at Pretender, all he needs to do is poke up, but Infernal goes over. I just can't believe Hollow didn't reset. No health bars. We're at a similar point. Again, Impunity have the palm of a Game 5 now given to them like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Hysterics, we may just go to Game 5. And that just feels unbelievable. Carries just goes in way too soon. By the time the ultimate lands, YSKM has just gotten his TP down. And the burst of damage comes through. Again, like Hollow, if he's full HP, he gets a lot more damage down. Eminem is able to put a little bit more damage in return, and these blinking health bars, they're gone, right? They're dead instead of just blinking health bars. But it ends up costing Frank Esports the fight and the Dragon Soul, and now the extra stats are in favor of Impunity, even though they are 3K gold down.
Yeah, I mean, look, Impunity, you know, we talked a lot about scaling, as that blue buff just stolen by Alex with a cheeky Arctic Assault. But Frank Esports, I can't believe it's come to this as we get a TP towards mid. You still have a stronger Aphelios, but there's a Glacial Prison. Equalizer burnt out all to get the inner turret. But as Pretender jumps on up, he's still going to be a threat. Even with the Infernal Soul, Frank Esports are still the scaled team. But I feel like we're going to have to wait until Baron for a minute, Nightstar. Wait until that Elder Dragon comes up. Because that's when the game truly could be a massive burger flip. I feel like the loser of this series should just apply for McDonald's at this point, honestly.
And right now, you can see the nerves are starting to play a factor because the shot calling coming in from Frank Esports is really getting pretty chaotic, right? They are just tunneled in on balling up as 5 rather than try and leverage the side lanes that we talked about in games 1 and 2 that they, you know, ran away with. Now, Westcam unable to freely push out in these situations. He's struggling a little bit to figure out where he wants to go and what he actually wants to do to help set up and get his team over the line.
Speaking of right now, with the Crown absorbing that old shock laser, Frank Esports have themselves a GA on this Aphelios. Impunity sitting in brush, but they're well aware that Impunity are setting up for the pick-off, especially with Baron on the horizon. Now Spawn, Frank Esports trying to move over, not as a big group as YSCam goes first. Trying to get the range, Alex jumps on in. Gwen becomes immune for a split second as Alex wants to get on in. And we see an Arctic Assault that leads to a Glacial Prison, but it's not thrown out. Impunity have themselves a river. We are A-ramming, we are sitting here looking for who throws the most things out. And Crown is down yet again as Annex just keeps hitting these ultra shock lasers. I guess we're just going to do this. You know what? Forget Sidewaves. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's just sit mid.
Yeah. And currently Sidewaves are pushing in opposite directions, right? Top wave is pushing in towards Impunity, whereas on the flip side, Frank Esports, they have a bottom wave possibly try and deal with. But the main show is still around this Baron, because it's still 2 minutes until the Elder Dragon. They don't need to turn their attention over there. And as things stand, it's a mixed amount of control coming in when it comes to vision. But the numbers are there for Frank Esports to go ahead and clear it out.
But on a ward, this is a good ward by Frank. You can see around the Raptor camp. A great spot to spot out a Sejuani, a Rakan. Really good angles if the mid push goes any further. For Frank Esports, that ward now going to expire as I hover around it. But at least getting vision around the Baron for now, as Hollow's still not spotted out in the pixel brush. Buying time will be Elder in a minute 30, and that's going to be the priority for both teams. Baron means nothing in comparison. So for Frank Esports, either they pick their battle on top of the Baron right now, or they try and bait in Impunity as that ulti flies out from Alex, hoping that they have an advantage to lead towards the Elder. We're approaching 40 minutes, Nightstar, and yet again, we have not touched Sidewaves for like 4 minutes. No one cares. You know, you have TP, don't worry about it. Let's just play Howling Abyss.
Yeah, and this, of course, shows that a bit of inexperience coming in from Frank Esports. I don't really mind it from Impunity because, again, Apex is not running the teleport, and you just want to try and force out a fight. If Annex ever lands a good Ultra Shock Laser, you just want to go on a dime with the ultimate coming from Alex or the equalizer coming in from Apex to take advantage of the crown being popped. I feel like they need to be a little bit more just use the equalizer to carve out space after the crown gets popped, just to try and make a play.
Well, it does come out, the Glacial Prison as well. That's double ulti with not much effect. Eminem is zoned out, however, and that could be okay.
They've reset the
His
fight.
ulti's still there. They get a route onto the jungler. He's igniting down. Saved by Yusin. But Alex is now low in front of an Elder buff. Pings are going mid from Frank Esports, but they have no jungler.
Yeah, the situation resets. Alex is actually going to stick around. Teleport coming through. This is it.
Okay, this is it. I mean, Frank Esports to go to the next round, or Impunity for a Game 5. Cam's here in line to send out the ulti, but use it for the great ulti. Flashes himself jackpot here too, but no one's on Eminem. And that's a free Aphelios. Spidey runs into certain death though and gets out alive. It's a double kill.
They have no one else left.
KM. I don't know.
2v4.
They're dead. They're actually just dead. Pretender flashes. Okay. Well, Jackpot runs in. He's dead next.
Okay.
Now Eminem on the Elder. You know, it goes to the Rumble. Eminem still flashing against an Elder team. He's going to do a Aphelios things. Everybody dead. A quadra kill. A fiesta of the game. Eminem just sits there alone.
Call him a rap god because he wraps that one up with 4 kills. And we go on. Hysteric. We go on.
Somehow, some way. Oh, Alex wasn't a champion. You know, Alex was not a champion. He had no HP. We'll look at this again because TP comes in. And Frank Esports a little bit far away from him.
Yeah, and YSKM goes in the back line, but he is going in by himself. Able to buy some time, and yeah, unfortunately, too far ahead of his squad allows Annex to just kind of play front to back. But the big thing is, Pretender, Eminem, they are extremely fed, and unfortunately, Jackpot, he wants to double dash in to try and get the stun onto Eminem. Unfortunately, no damage or not enough durability there, and even though they are able to get themselves the Elder Dragon, they still all die because Eminem just gets the free hit.
And the replay, by the way, Baron was taken by Frank Esports. Elder is now off of Impunity.
Yep.
Because, as you said, everybody died, so...
Full build starting the stream through.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right, put on your disco
lengthy.
shoes.
This has to be the next. It has to be all over at the next fight. Sure.
No. I could see this going to 60 minutes. I could honestly see this going to 60 minutes because Frank, game 1 and 2 have been so clean. Game 3 looked clueless. Game 4, again, how's the priorities? Eminem, clutch play, getting out of the way of the Galatian prison. Is now against Impunity, trying to use the Baron to get all the clear, but Annex is doing so much damage to these Baron minions. Maybe it'll be YSKM who's able to push in the base as the rest of Impunity are coming in to jump on top of him. But it is a Gwen with needlework, blast cone taken. You just set everyone to deal with the Gwen.
At long last, Frank Esports starting to play multi-lanes once again. Now that there aren't any objectives up on the table, they are willing to spread themselves out, play a little bit more map-oriented. And Impunity, they have to come to a decision soon. It's very possible we see, another double Uber fight here.
Double Uber?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, we've got the Uber objectives. 3 minutes until Elder comes up. I mean, surely we finish before it.
Ulti, Equalizer, okay, Pretender and Eminem. Meanwhile, how is Jackpot winning this? It is Gwen. Needlework probably missed quite a lot. Yep, second time as well. And YSKM's dead. He missed both parts. He got one Needlework. I don't know, dude. I've just seen bigger Gwens.
He's massive.
Oh, here we go. All right, 4 versus 5. 35 seconds left on Baron. The play stops there. The base was not broken. Impunity are just running down mid because there's no Gwen for 45 seconds.
Long death timers, any pickoff is extremely detrimental, so they're going to have to take this fight 4v5. They do have very fed carries, though.
But you've got Nazir, so pushing down mid going to be hard. TP was burned. Hollow still with an angle, but not going to take it. And YSKM does have teleport. But when he spawns back up, nothing going to be available then at the very least, as Impunity still have pressure through the mid lane, bot lane there too. And we will just wait. Like I said, Nightstar, 50-minute game. That's what's coming our way.
We have the nice foul completed by Alex. It's thrown onto Annex, and on the flip side, carries. He has the Anathema's chains thrown down onto the Zeri. So if Zeri does get caught out, it will cost her GA. Almost undoubtedly so, because of the extra CC duration. So that's something to keep track of. And it's a waiting game, 70 seconds until Elder respawns. Right after, that's Baron in 2 minutes.
Eminem has no boots, he's sold it. We have 6 item of Phelios. Boots still there from Annex, so a full item over right now for the 11 and 180 carry. YSCam has been the reliable one all split. He's been insane with some of his plays, even in game 1 and game 2. But this game, I ain't talking about the Gwen. Instead, I feel like Jackpot, even at this point, is so much more impactful as Annex hits the 2 hyper carries. Eminem and Apex, Pretender taking that much damage. And Impunity is just fast-tracking down the mid lane.
Yeah, and here's the problem with ditching your boots is that you're really, really strong in a fight. However, moving around the map, not going to be favorable for you. So Eminem, he has to have people just lined up around him to make sure he's escorted properly.
Okay, I thought Frank Esports would try and jump on. Eminem had ulti and grabbed him, but didn't want to throw it out. Frank Esports, you know, this is not an experienced organization.
Yep.
Even though these guys, you know, you look at people like Eminem, who's been around for ages, you want to see something big out of them as that TP is towards bot. All right, YSKM, make the play, do it the shot. As Impunity are running towards this Gwen, he's like, now do I go in, now do I not? Now do I go in because Impunity are in front of Elder. They're being split around. I was just arguing about experience, and this play is so Chad. This is how they can end it as YSCam is channeling into the base. Observers take us in as Elder's being held. There's no flip opportunity, and the needlework is finally connecting. When it matters, YSCam takes one person out of the equation, and he starts walking down.
Let it reset, yes.
By the time. All right, and look at where he is. As Jackpot moves in, YSCam is just going to go for the play, but Carries. Why did Carries engage? They've just given an avenue for a 5 versus 4, and Annex can move around. It all now relies on Pretender, apparently, who gets the big shuffle. Polo gets the spin, and this Azir has just saved their lives. With Eminem as well. Frank Esports in this 43-kill game will be able to move on to the next round, but Impunity made them work for it in what was the craziest, silliest end of a series I have ever casted in my tenure of casting League of Legends.
Just gonna let it soak in. It was a messy affair in game number 4. And we questioned the poise, the leadership, the communication